knowledgeable and experienced speakers here. So if there's any questions or comments, then we'll take them from the floor.
Good morning, my name is Ruby, and I came here because I understood that there was a representative from Enbridge present to speak on racial equity in the private sector. It doesn't appear that that representative is here today, but I have been asked by certain members of communities that are impacted by these projects from Indigenous territories west and east of us to present statements about how Enbridge is impacting the community. And I invite you, all of you, to think about this throughout the day, throughout the workshop, about how the private sector is affecting Indigenous people in their living in their lives, in their traditional territories, in living off the land. And we can't talk about racial equity without talking about relationship with Indigenous peoples. We can't talk about Indigenous peoples without talking about the relationship with the land. We can't talk about the land without acknowledging the projects that are devastating these communities and are leading this to another genocide. And so I have a letter from the front lines in North Central BC, and this is from Frida Houston, spokesperson for the Unisquilton people. From the front line in North Central BC, where the fight against oil and gas pipelines continue on the ancestral lands of the Unisquilton and the larger Wet'suwet'en people. The experience that we've had with Enbridge here in Wet'suwet'en territories has been far from what we could be framed as racial equity. Rather than adhering to the Supreme Court of Canada's decisions in the Delgamuukw and the Chilcotin cases, they've resorted to employing contradicting actions that are expected from those Supreme Court of Canada court cases and opted instead to try and create turmoil within our nation of people by attempting to create deals with the Indian bands within our lands. These small Indian bands do not have jurisdiction outside of administering fiduciary funds on federally appointed Indian reservations. Their decision to refuse to talk with the hereditary owners of our lands was a deliberate attempt by Enbridge and the governments of Canada and BC to undermine a jurisdiction and break their own laws. We are the plaintiffs in one of the largest land claims court cases on these lands, and our title and rights are recognized in the highest courts which are recognized here. This is a blatant attempt to create infighting amongst members in our nation by pitting people with greed against people with integrity. We will have the final say on what happens on our land. We will always say no to oil and gas. We will be the ones walking proudly long into the future along our unborn generations. The legacy left behind us will be one of pride and strength, while the legacy left behind Enbridge will be one of greed, deceit, lying, and extreme racism. And once again, those words are from Frida Houston, spokesperson of the Unisquilton people, who have undergone numerous cultural consultations that have been taking part from Enbridge. The other letter comes from an Anishinaabe person from the Amnijong community out east of us, where the Line 9 projects are being proposed by Enbridge. Enbridge has continued to fail with the consultation of the Anishinaabe people of Amnijong and surrounding communities, with open houses that the company workers failed to show up to with their own events. We see that here again today. Who are said to come on updating us and answer our questions, but they never show up. So our community continues to have no consultation to what they are doing to our land. They will place an above-ground terminal directly across the two-lane road, putting a community at risk and within the blast zone. We're already surrounded by a place called Chemical Valley, taking advantage of the situation. And these words come from an Anishinaabe person from Amnijong. But we know that there have been numerous communities that have opposed Enbridge and opposed oil and gas coming to their communities. And I think it's really important that we take this time, especially today, on this day of racial discrimination, on this day of elimination of racial discrimination, to think about the impacts of our actions. And as Amarjeet Sohi says, place ourselves in the place where we are uncomfortable, because those are the places in which other people are feeling the direct impacts and are the most marginalized. So thank you, hi for your time.